Like they say, jealousy and envy are great diseases and they rot the minds of those who indulges in them. Like they say, jealousy is a disease and it rots the bones of humans. So it is for these two best friends named Amuche and Adugo. They have been inseparable right from childhood. Amuche lost her mother at an early age of 7, while Adeze lost her father when she was only 2 years old. She is the only child of her poor widowed mother, and she is quite a pretty girl too. The two best friends share their grief, sorrows, and wins together, as they are always seen together. They also belong to the village Achalugo dance group. Both the two girls can dance very well, but Amuche is the best dancer among all the maidens in the village. No one can compete with her. 4 months ago, Umuneke village suddenly lost their king, and his son was coronated as the new king. But the new king, King Uchenna, was unmarried, so therefore it is expected that he should get married as soon as possible. And the rule is that he must pick a maiden from Umuneke village to marry, which prompted the king and the elders of Umuneke village to organize a dancing competition where all the beautiful maidens of Umuneke will showcase their beautiful and unique styles of dancing for the king. Amuche, who is the best dancer in the village, was very excited when she heard the news and started preparing immediately for the competition, as she is sure that the king will surely notice her when she swings and shakes her waist. Her father, Mazi Amaji, encouraged and gingered her. According to him, being an in-law to the king will elevate their status in the village, as the villagers will respect them and they will become richer. He made her daughter Amuche promised him that she will win. 2 weeks later, the villagers gathered at the village square and the dancing competition began. The maidens danced very beautifully, showcasing so many sweet dancing moves and swinging as well as tweaking left and right. Amuche was applauded for her excellent performance, and everyone expected the king to choose her. And her father, Mazi Amadi, was very happy and so proud of her daughter's performance. When it was time for the king to make his choice, people were surprised to see the king walked past Amuche, who was dancing at the front of the line, and went to Adaeze, lifted her hand up, proclaiming her his choice. Everyone was silent and shocked as her poor widowed mother stood up and started shouting and jumping out of excitement. 1 week later, after the dance, the king announced the date of his wedding to Adaeze. Adaeze ran off to her best friend's house to inform her. Although Amuche was happy for her best friend Adaeze, but the happiness she was showing was not genuine. Deep in her heart, she was so jealous and envious of Adaeze. Amuche's father, Mazi Amadi, was not happy as he instigated his daughter Amuche to find a way and eliminate Adaeze so that the king will marry her, and they planned. 3 days later, Amuche asked Adaeze to accompany her to her maternal village to visit her grandmother. Adaeze agreed, as they were at the boundary between the two villages, which is surrounded by a very thick forest. Amuche from the back stabbed Adaeze and she fell down. Then Amuche ran away, leaving her there to die. She immediately ran back to the village, crying and shouting that they were attacked by a pack of hyenas, as she was lucky to escape, as Adaeze has been torn into pieces and eaten by the hyenas. The whole village was thrown into mourning as the villagers mourned their future queen. The king was heartbroken. For many months he mourned his beloved. Amuche was there by the king's side, consoling and taking care of him. 6 months later, the king decided to marry Amuche, his late fiance's best friend, and made her the queen of Umuneke. On the other hand, far deep inside the forest was Adaeze. She was in coma this entire time. Miraculously, she was rescued by an old woman who lives inside the forest. She took proper care of her and treated her wounds as she was a great herbalist. At first, Adaeze was scared, but calmed down after the old woman explained to her how she saw her bleeding to death and saved her life. Adaeze now recalled everything that Amuche did to her, but she was still weak to come back to the village. The old woman was happy to have found Adaeze, as she passed to her and teach her everything that she is to know about roots and herbs, and gave her her treasured properties and money. They also rescued another maiden from people who wanted to kill her and brought her back with them inside the forest. It was the maiden named Amaka that informed Adaeze that Amuche is now the queen, as the king married her some months ago. Adaeze was angered at their betrayal, that she planned her revenge for the people that wronged her. The two maidens bade farewell to the old woman and sneaked into the village. Adaeze covered her face with the veil and named herself the Black Widow. At first, Adaeze hired some men in the village as they loot the king's treasure and cleared everything, then left the queen's clothes in the treasure room to implicate her. The king was so enraged, as the village idol was among the things that was stolen, and the festival where the villagers worship and celebrate the idol was closed, and to replace the idol was very expensive, and the gods will be angry with the entire village if the idol is not presented to the shrine. And the king could not be able to replace the idol, as everything he has was stolen. Then came the Black Widow, who promised to lend the money to replace the idol, but the king will pay her back with his wife's jewelry, and that jewelry was their wedding necklace, and was gifted and put round her neck by the king himself on their wedding day, which symbolizes that she is the queen. The king pleaded with Queen Amuche to give the Black Widow her necklace, which she did grudgingly. Few days later, the queen was accused of stealing the king's treasure, as her cloth was found in the treasure room. Then the king sent her back to her parents' house until he decided on how to punish her. Before then, Adaeze have already revealed her face to the village chief priest and also some men and some palace guards who promised to help her. Amuche's father was angry and disappointed in her, but she suspected that there is a conspiracy, since she was not the one that looted the king's treasure, and the chief priest was the first person to accuse her of stealing, which prompted her to pay a visit to the shrine of the chief priest and accused him of conspiring against her, and demanded that she should name the person that paid him to conspire against her. When the chief priest refused and turned to go back to his shrine, Amuche yet again stabbed him from the back and ran away. Then she also stabbed Amaka, the girl that was helping Adaeze. Some security guards told the king that they saw the idol in Amuche's father's house. When the king arrived and ordered the guards to dig the ground, they were all shocked to see the idol there. Then Amuche, who was sneaking back into his father's house after stabbing the chief priest, suddenly she was seen, and the king ordered his guards to pursue her and hid her captive, but she escaped. Then Amuche, who was sneaking back into his father's house, was seen. Suddenly, she was caught and hid captive, but she escaped by tricking the guards present in her cell and stabbed him from the back, then ran away. A ransom was placed on her head as the chief priest, who was lucky to have survived from his injuries, confessed to the king that the Black Widow is his late fiancée Adaeze. The king was shocked and hurried back home, while Adaeze, who have had enough of Amuche, went alone into the forest to put a stop to Amuche's chaos. Saw her stabbing a guy that was also helping Adaeze from the back. Adaeze shouted her name and asked Amuche to face her as she revealed herself. Amuche was shocked to see her once best friend that she thought she had killed standing before her alive and well. She was so enraged that she charged towards her to kill her too. And she said, "It is my lucky day. I will also end you." As she laughed wickedly. But unfortunately for Amuche, the guy that she stabbed was lucky, as the wound was not too deep. As he stood up and from behind, he held her down and strangled her to death. And they both left her body there to rot and for wild animals to feast on. And they both returned back to the village. Adaeze and the king reunited and got married as they lived happily ever after. Like they say, jealousy is a disease. The end. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel. See you in my next video. Bye. Mwah.